I am making an updated Ice Barrier deck profile for the release Battles of Legend Terminal Revenge. One of the things with Ice Barrier, at least with their new cards from Terminal Revenge, is that now they actually have ideas of what they want to do, including I think it's referred to as a 1.5 card combo that lets you draw 4 cards. Starting off with the monsters, I play 2 copies of Hexa, Spirit of the Ice Barrier. Hexa has the effect that while you control another Ice Barrier monster, all monsters your opponent controls lose 500 attack and defense. And then during your main phase, you can send a level 3 or lower Ice Barrier from your deck to the graveyard to then have this card's level become that monster's level until the end of the turn. Let's see, what isn't done? For some reason. That is mainly used for one of the monsters I'll get to soon, but I also play 1 copy of Prior of the Ice Barrier. You're never going to be summoning Prior with its effect unless all you can do is make a XZ's monster or a Link monster. But yes, you can special summon it if you control an Ice Barrier, but you cannot special summon level 5 or higher monsters the turn you use that. The main reason you play it is because you contribute it to then summon an Ice Barrier monster from your graveyard. Because I believe that's how it works. Let's see. Choose this card. Target an Ice Barrier monster in your graveyard. Special summon the target. Yep. However, one thing I will mention is that if you do want to play hand traps, as this version is just pure Ice Barrier, or I say pure Ice Barrier, but it's just meant to be Ice Barrier, like a fun build. Prior is one of the cards you can take out for hand traps. I think this deck I have a total of 12 to 15 hand traps. Next, I play 3 copies of Mirror Mage of the Ice Barrier. Mirror Mage has the effect that you can contribute one effect monster, special summon up to 3 Ice Barrier tokens, and then as the level increases, equal to the number of tokens you summoned. And each of the tokens is level 1, and that effect is part of the 1.5 card combo that lets you draw 4 cards. And then has another effect. Oh yeah, but if you use that effect, you cannot summon from the extra except for water synchro monsters. And then it has another effect where it's into the graveyard. Let's see. It's into the graveyard, add an Ice Barrier monster from your deck or that is banished or your deck to your hand. You will use each effect of Mirror Mage once per turn. So it generates tokens, and when it's sent to the graveyard, you get to add an Ice Barrier monster. Next, I play 1 copy of Warlock of the Ice Barrier. Warlock just says that if you have another Ice Barrier monster, then both players must set spells and traps before activating them, and cannot activate them until their next turn. It's just meant to slow your opponent down. 1 copy of Defender of the Ice Barrier. Defender is another monster that can probably come out for hand traps, but for now I like it, and it just makes it so that you have another Ice Barrier monster. Monsters your opponent controls that have attack higher than its original defense, or higher than the card's current defense, then they can't attack. Next, I play 3 copies of Silent Sea Nettle. Silent Sea Nettles can also be cut for hand traps, but it has the effect that you can special summon it while you control a water monster. You special summon from your hand, however you cannot special summon for the rest of the turn except for water monsters, and then you can banish it from your graveyard to then target 3 water monsters in your grave, and shuffle them back into the deck. Then I play 3 copies of Silent Angler. Silent Angler can also be taken out for more hand traps, but Silent Angler lets you special summon it from your hand as long as you control a water monster, but if you do, you cannot special summon from your hand for the rest of the turn. Then I play 3 copies of Speaker of the Ice Barrier. Speaker has the effect that you can control another Ice Barrier monster. Defense position monsters your opponent controls can't change their positions. And then you can only use each of its following effects once per turn. Or if you control an Ice Barrier monster, you can special summon from your hand. And if you control an Ice Barrier monster, you can banish this card from your graveyard to special summon an Ice Barrier token. Which, this card is also one of the cards you need for your 1.5 card combo that I genuinely do not have memorized. Another card that can technically be taken out for another hand trap is Spellbreaker of the Ice Barrier. As you would either play Spellbreaker or Warlock. I haven't really seen anyone playing both. But Spellbreaker just has the effect that once per turn, you can you can send an Ice Barrier monster from your hand to your graveyard to then make it so that while it's on the field, neither player can activate spells until your next turn. Next, I play 2 copies of Aqua Spirit. His only purpose in the deck is to banish a water for a level 4 extender. And these can also be taken out for hand traps. Hand traps or triple tactics talent, I should say. Next, I play the 1 card part of the 1.5 of the combo is Revealer of the Ice Barrier. Revealer has the effect that while you control another Ice Barrier monster that isn't Revealer, then your opponent cannot tribute summon. And then it has the other effect of you can discard a card, especially on an Ice Barrier monster or an Ice Barrier tuner from your deck. And then you cannot special summon monsters this turn except for water monsters. And if you would discard or send a card from your hand or hand to the graveyard to activate an Ice Barrier monster's effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. What you do is you normal this, discard a card, summon Hexa. Hexa will send Mirror Mage. And then Mirror Mage grabs the Speaker. You summon Speaker, make Bahamut Shark. Bahamut Shark makes Toad. Link off Hexa and the Bahamut Shark for Coral Anemone. Anemone brings back Mage. Mage tributes Anemone, summoning 3 tokens. Tune the Mage with a token for Coral Dragon. And then use Speaker to summon another token. Tune the 3 tokens with Coral Dragon for Ravenous Crocodragon, or Crocosaur. And then chain 1 Crocosaur, chain 2 Coral Dragon. You get to draw 4 cards. Actually kind of surprised that I actually remembered that. Next, I play 3 copies of Georgius, Swordsman of the Ice Barrier. Georgius has the effect that while you control an Ice Barrier monster, your opponent cannot activate the effects of monsters in the graveyard, which I actually really like that, because it's good against one of my friends who really likes playing Tearlament, Lightsworn, and I'm fairly certain there's also Zombie in there somewhere too. But the other thing is, if you control an Ice Barrier monster, it's a free summon. And I believe you can special summon one from grave. Once per turn, if you control an Ice Barrier monster, special summon this card from your hand defense position. If this card is normal or special summon level 5 or lower Ice Barrier monster from your hand or graveyard. This is usually how you're making level 10 synchros in this deck. However, one thing I do want to add to the deck is the Ice Jade monster I won't say it's level 6 or 8, but it summons a tuner that is either level 4 or 2 to make a level 10 synchro by itself. Then lastly, for the monsters, I play the 1 copy of General Raiho of the Ice Barrier. Raiho just is usually being summoned off of the deck's boss monster, and Raiho makes it so that any of your opponent's monsters, if your opponent has an activated monster effect on field, your opponent has to discard a card at resolution, otherwise that monster's effect is negated, and it's their choice whether they want to discard or not. Moving on to these spells, I play 2 copies of Winds Over the Ice Barrier. Winds Over the Ice Barriers lets you tribute any number of Ice Barrier monsters from your field, summon an equal number of Ice Barrier monsters from your deck. And I believe it has a grave effect too. Okay, if it's in the graveyard other than during the turn it was sent there, you can banish it to then target one of your Ice Barrier monsters that is banished from your graveyard to add it to your hand. So it does let you recur things past turn 1. Next, I play 2 copies of Synchro Creed. Synchro Creed can also be taken out of this deck for hand traps, but it has the effect that if there's a Synchro monster in play, draw a card, but if there's 3 or more, you can draw another card. You can only activate 1 Synchro Creed per turn. Next, I play 3 copies of Medallion of the Ice Barrier. Medallion of the Ice Barrier just lets you add any Ice Barrier monster from your deck to your hand. I really like it because it's not once per turn, and it's not restricted to a level. Next, I play 3 copies of Freezing Chains of the Ice Barrier. Freezing Chains has the effect you can target level 4 lower Ice Barrier monster in your graveyard, special summon it. And then while you control 3 or more ice barrier monsters you control are unaffected by opponent's activated effects of your opponent's monsters that are special summoned from the extra deck. Honestly, you could probably get away with only playing 1 of these, but for now at least I like playing 3. And lastly, I play another one of the new cards is 3 copies of Frozen Domain of the Ice Barrier. Frozen Domain makes it so that your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to an Ice Barrier monster's effect activation. And then if a monster is special summoned from the extra deck, you can return to the hand or shuffle into the deck 1 Ice Barrier monster you control, and you can place 1 card from the field or either player's graveyard to the bottom of the deck. And then during your end phase, you have to reveal 3 different Ice Barrier monsters from your extra deck, or else it's destroyed. And for the extra deck, I play 1 copy of Marine Incest Coral Anemone. Once per turn, you can target a level 4 lower water in your graveyard, special summon it. Then I play 1 copy of SP Little Knight. SP Little Knight just has the effect that if it's link summoned using a monster from the extra deck, target 1 card on your either side of the field or in either graveyard, banish it. And then once per turn, when your opponent activates a card or effect, you can activate Little Knight's effect and then target 1 monster on either side of the field to then banish both until the end of the turn. Then I play 1 copy of Toad. Toad is an Omni-Negate by sending an Aqua monster from your hand or field to the graveyard to negate, destroy, and then you can set that card to your field. And then if it's sent to the graveyard, you can add a water monster from your grave to your hand. I also play 1 copy of Dweller, just turns off grave effects. And then if it has a water monster's material, all your water monsters gain 500 attack. 1 copy of Bahamut Shark, its only purpose is summon Toad. For the Synchros, I play 1 copy of Brionac, Dragon of the Ice Barrier. Brionac has the effect that once per turn you can discard any number of cards from your hand to return an equal number of cards your opponent controls to the hand. And I believe... yeah, but you do have to target though, so it's not a non-targeting removal, unfortunately. Then I play 1 copy of Brionac, the Magical Ice Dragon. Has the effect that if it's synchro summon, discard a card, target card on the field, return it to the hand. And then special summon from the graveyard, you can discard a card, target card on the field, and return it to the hand. You can only use each effect of Brionac, the Magical Ice Dragon, once per turn. 1 copy of Coral Dragon. If it's sent to the graveyard with synchro material, you can draw a card. And I believe... yeah, once per turn you can discard a card, target a card on the field, and destroy it. 1 copy of Gungnir. Gungnir lets you once per turn discard up to 2 cards from to their graveyard to then target the same number of cards your opponent controls and destroy them. White Aura Whale is in this deck as a going second option. As when it's synchro summoned, you get to destroy all your opponent's face-up attack position monsters. Let's see, destroy all your opponent's attack position monsters, and it gets 2 attacks on monsters. Or it gets 2 attacks per battle phase, and then it also has piercing. 1 copy of Adamancer Resin Dragite. It's a spell trap negation. Next, I play 2 copies of Trishula, Dragon of the Ice Barrier. Trishula has the effect that when it's synchro summoned, you can then banish up to 1 card from your opponent's field, graveyard, and hand. However, one thing I will mention is that I would only play 1 of this, but since I don't have a Crocosaur at the moment, I'm playing 2 Trishula. Well, I'll take 1 out for the Crocosaur. Then I also play 1 copy of Lancia, Primordial Dragon of the Ice Mountain. But Lancia has the effect that once per change, your opponent special summons a monster, except in a damage step. You can special summon an Ice Barrier monster from your, hand, extra deck, or graveyard. Let's see, you can special summon 1 Ice Barrier monster from your hand, deck, extra deck, or graveyard, and then you can change 1 attack position monster your opponent controls to defense position. You only use this effect of Lancia, Ancestral Dragon of the Ice Mountain, twice per turn. And if it's Synchro Summon card leaves the field because of an opponent's card, special summon Ice Barrier Synchro from your extra deck. This tree has a Synchro Summon. So to get over this, you can summon Trishula and then just banish 3 cards. And lastly, I play 1 copy of Trishula, Sub-Zero Dragon of the Ice Barrier. This should be a second copy of Lancia, or a Water rank 4. But for now, I like this card as it has the effect of when it is synchro summoned, you can banish up to 3 cards your opponent controls, and if it is destroyed by an opponent's card, you can special summon a Trishula from your extra deck. Its attack becomes 3,300, and then all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls have their attack, and their effects are negated until the end of the turn. And that's it. But that's it for my Ice Barrier deck profile. I'll make another one once I've updated it with hand traps. But if you have any ideas what I can do to improve the deck, ideas for other decks like to see face each other, or decks like to see be made in the future, feel free to comment down below. I always read the comments. Thank you for watching.